You are listening to 389 Country Internet Radio. The views and opinions expressed on the Morning Buzz are not necessarily those of 389 Country advertisers, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, or Google Podcasts.
But they should be.
This is the Morning Buzz.
Good morning, Buzzers. Your buddy Trav on the radio. Thanks so much for tuning in on a Monday morning. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great weekend. And my weekend was pretty good. Yeah, you know, kind of blah. Just the weather. Maybe I'll get into my weekend a little bit coming up here in this hour. Had the old stray dog I told you about Friday. I'll update you on him. And I don't know what I'll tell you about my weekend. Depends on how sharing I'm feeling. But no matter how your weekend was, I hope your Monday is better. I know that's hard to do, but I'm going to try my best to at least make sure the start of your day is better. Coming up over the course of the next 3 hours, expect political chaos, including an update on Trumpy Poo. I'm sure Joe will be in there too. And chaotic news from around the world, and it just pours in. There's a lot of mornings when I'm getting ready for the show, and I'm drinking from a fire hose, y'all. But first, we got to get things rolling, and in order to do that, we have to rely on our old buddy Doug, because he gets our morning rolling every day. Doug, you awake, buddy? Go ahead if you are. Do your thing. Today is Monday. It is December the 11th. It is Green Monday. Now, what's Green Monday? Green Monday is an online shopping day similar to Cyber Monday, and it occurs on the last Monday when there are at least 10 days prior to Christmas, which usually happens to be the second Monday in December. Online shoppers have historically wanted 10 days between when they order the gifts and Christmas to ensure the gifts arrive in time. That reminds me, I need to order some stuff today. So it's like an online version of Super Saturday. What else is today? Today is also holiday food drive for needy animals. It's International Mountain Day. Celebrate the mountains. National App Day. Check those phones. See if there's apps you've not really used this year. Get rid of them. Have a Bagel Day and National Stretching Day. I need to do more of that. On this day in history, where did it go? There it is. 1620, Mayflower pilgrims come ashore in Plymouth Bay, traditionally thought to be at Plymouth Rock, Massachusetts. So the pilgrims landed today in 1620. In 1913, Mona Lisa was recovered after 2 years after it was stolen from the Louvre. In 1946, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, also known as UNICEF, is established. 1997, delegates from 150 industrial nations attending a UN climate conference in Kyoto, Japan, reached agreement to control heat-trapping greenhouse gases. 1997, we're still meeting to sign on to stuff like this. Today in music, Hank Williams begins his recording career in 1946 on Sterling label. And in sports, on this day in 1951, Joe DiMaggio announced his retirement from baseball. And with that, we arrive at weather, brought to you by North Georgia Sign and Apparel. Cool this morning. Right now, it is 28 degrees in Hayesville. With the moisture we had over the weekend, there's some slick stuff. My back deck this morning, it's like a skating rink when I walked out. So be careful. There may be patchy ice. No word yet on a school delay, if you're wondering. I haven't seen anything. I haven't received anything. So just be careful. Give yourself plenty of time. Don't get fast, you know. Back to the weather. Today, expect plenty of sun. The start of an extended stretch of dry weather. All sun today. 47 for the high, so a little chilly. For tomorrow, we're going to be a little warmer. Mostly sunny skies. Tonight, the low of 23. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 52 with a low of 29. Taking a peek at Wednesday, pleasant with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high of 60 degrees. Doesn't that sound great? That's weather brought to you by North Georgia Sign and Apparel. And with that, we have officially started your day. This morning's show, officially, brought to you by our friends at Graves Directional Drilling. It works better if you unmute the mic there, dummy. It is Monday, ladies and gentlemen, so we get the show rolling with Mark Chestnut reminding you it sure is Monday. Thanks for listening to the Morning Buzz. Mark Chestnut reminding you what day it is. Time now for the 411 for the 389. University of Pennsylvania President Liz McGill resigned Saturday amid backlash over remarks made during a congressional hearing about on-campus anti-Semitism Tuesday. Reports of anti-Semitic harassment have increased at U.S. universities since the start of Israel-Hamas war 2 months ago, prompting scrutiny for those institutions' responses. A major donor withdrew a $100 million partnership with Penn Thursday as a protest of McGill's comments. Yeah, you cost your school $100 million and look like a fool on national television, you probably need to resign. There's some other ones that need to, too. Shohei Ohtani, one of baseball's biggest stars, will depart the Los Angeles Angels and head across town to the Los Angeles Dodgers after signing a contract reportedly worth $700 million. Y'all, that's almost what I make here. Total value, the 10-year deal is believed to be the biggest contract signed by any athlete in global sports history. I saw a stat last night. San Francisco 49ers quarterback in a season makes just under $900,000. Ohtani's going to make that in 2 games. And now headed to a legal battle in Texas. The Texas Supreme Court paused the lower court's ruling over the weekend, allowing a Dallas area woman to receive an abortion despite the state's new laws limiting access to the procedure. The case is believed to be the first of its kind in the U.S. since Roe v. Wade was overturned last June. That's a look at your morning headlines, the 411 for the 389. Let's jump back into the music now. This one came in over the weekend. Sorry I wasn't here to get it, but hopefully you're listening now. It's a request. They wanted to hear Carly Pierce with Ashley McBride. Never wanted to be that girl. I don't know the story behind the request. Hopefully they just like the song. Thanks for listening to the Morning Buzz. Patty Loveless, Bluegrass, White Snow. Well, there's no white snow this morning, but there is white frost. So be careful if you're headed out, especially on your steps. I'm telling you, I had to hang on. I looked like I was 90 years old. But hopefully your morning's going well as you prepare to head out to the office, to the job site, to the store. Heck, maybe you're headed to school somewhere, no matter your case, no matter your situation. At some point today, dear friends, you're going to find yourself in the presence of those who make it abundantly clear to you that they need to be educated on the ways of this world. And when that moment happens, I want you to look them dead in the eye and say, losers, I bet I'm smarter than you, and I can prove it. And then hit them with this. Did you know yellow and red stimulates hunger? It's true. It's true. Picture all the major fast food joints in your area. What does McDonald's, KFC, Popeyes, Chick-fil-A, Wendy's, and others have in common aside from being fast food giants? All of their logos and branding have elements of red and yellow. This is because red and yellow psychologically stimulate hunger. Huh. And then after you have left them wowed, nay, slack-jawed with your superior knowledge, I want you to hit them with the old 1-2 punch. Look at them again and say, not only am I smarter than you losers, I'm funnier too, and drop this on them. A preacher visits an elderly woman from his congregation. As he sits on the couch, he notices a large bowl of peanuts on the coffee table. Mind if I have a few, he asked. No, not at all, the woman replied. They chat for an hour, and as the preacher stands to leave, he realizes that instead of eating just a few peanuts, he emptied most of the bowl. I'm terribly sorry for eating all your peanuts. I really meant to just eat a few, he said. Oh, that's all right, the woman says. Ever since I lost my teeth, all I can do is suck the chocolate off of them anyway, y'all. I need a drink of water. Here's Zach Brown Band. Let's take a look at sports, shall we? Since it's time for sports. Let's start with a little high school basketball. Friday night, Hayesville headed across the mountain over to Franklin High School, and, well, it didn't go well for either Yellow Jacket team. The Lady Yellow Jackets come up short. It was close, but they come up short, 43-32 to Franklin. And on the men's side of things, the Yellow Jackets fall 76-56 for their first loss of the season. Franklin's always a thorn in Hayesville's side. Of course, non-conference game, and Hayesville playing up. They're in a different weight division, but it's usually a pretty exciting game. But, you know, win or lose, we always say, go Jackets. Teams will be back in action tomorrow night in the Hive. They're in the Hive all week this week. As tomorrow night it's Highlands, I do believe. And then Friday night it's Swain County. We'll talk about it more tomorrow. Move on now to college basketball. Saturday, Young Harris College was at home with a doubleheader. The girls, unfortunately, they lose to Southern Wesleyan. But the boys pick up a win. Men's basketball in the Mountain Lions' first Conference Carolinas matchup of the year. They pushed past the Southern Wesleyan Warriors 77-64 and picked up the victory on Saturday. Mountain Lions moved to 5-3 overall and are 1-0 in Conference Carolinas, while the Warriors moved to 1-8 overall and 0-1 in the conference. Young Harris College returns to action this Wednesday, December 13th, where they take on Francis Marion at 1. It's an afternoon game. I know Hayesville Middle School has taken their PE classes over there, so I'm sure other schools in the area will be there. So it should be a raucous atmosphere. Now let's talk little racing. No, it's not time for the BK Concrete Connection Racing Report. Friday, promoter Ray Cook, in a statement released on social media, let everybody know that the owners of Tri-County Racetrack have decided to go in a different direction, and he will no longer be promoting at what was lovingly referred to as the Tiger Pit. That it won't be the case anymore. So the track's for sale, and I'll just go ahead and tell you. I'll be honest with you. Some folks are saying things that were not said last week. I'll just say that. But hope to get an interview with Ray and maybe have him on tomorrow morning or one morning this week and get his perspective. Even though, like I say, he has released a press release, and you can find that on the Tri-County Racetrack Facebook page. But it's a little sobering last weck. That's why Friday morning I was bummed. I knew it was coming. So we'll move on. It'll be okay. Racing may stay in the area. The track, like I say, depends on who you talk to, what's going to happen, and it depends on when you talk to them as to what's going to happen. I'll say that, and I'll leave it there to keep from having to appear in court one day. That's a look at sports, brought to you as always by the fine folks over at the Clay County Recreation Center. Go and see Jerry and the staff today, and they will make sure to get you moving.
Looking for a way to become more active? Check out the Clay County Recreation Center. From walking and biking trails to a workout room to a state-of-the-art pickleball court, the rec center has something for all levels of physical activity. They even have an airfield for RC pilots. And don't forget about all the sports leagues for the kids. Visit the center at 333 Ballpark Drive in Hayesville or call 828-389-0368.
Time now for our Bozo News of the day. Today, we head to Florida. Florida, they never disappoint us. We head to Palm Coast, Florida, to be exact, where cops were conducting an investigation into illegal drug trafficking in the area when they arrived at our Bozo's residence. Before they knocked on the front door, they noticed the welcome mat. Well, it wasn't so welcoming. It said, "Come back with a warrant." Always being good at following directions, that's just what the cops did. When they returned with a warrant, they found fentanyl and other drug paraphernalia inside. They were busted. Now, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, probably not a good idea to have a welcome mat that says "come back with a warrant." While I do believe in the process, and you should require law enforcement to get a warrant to follow the proper procedures, I think you're just waving the old red flag when you're throwing it in their face like that. And what if these were rookie cops? They didn't know that they could come back with a warrant. You just gave them free legal advice that put you in jail. What an Idiot. Charlie Pride. Uh-oh.
There we go. My wife loves it when I forget to change the mic back. Charlie Pride. That was Charlie Pride. All right. I got a question for you, if I can find what I did with it. There it is. Too much stuff around here. What food do you think is impossible to eat in a civilized manner? Now, I asked this. My wife's company Christmas party was Saturday night, and one of the side dishes was tater wedges, which I love. And I tried with the fork, and then dipping it in the ketchup to try to be civilized. And I finally gave up, not on the tater wedges, just on the fork. So I got to thinking, and I said to myself, Self, I wonder what other people struggle with. So send me your suggestions, 389country@gmail.com or 389country.com. Click on the little chat option, or you can message us through Facebook. Let me know. I'm interested to see some of your struggles. Now, let's go back to the music. Here is the latest from Cody Johnson featuring Jelly Roll. It's Whiskey Bent. Let me know those nasty foods that you struggle with in public. Cody Johnson with Jelly Roll, Whiskey Bent. Well, I got some suggestions. One suggestion said keep the chipmunk voice. Let's see, we got spaghetti. You end up slurping it at some point, that's true, and probably gets all over your clothes and face and stuff. Where did it? Let's see. I had some more here. Here we go. Granola bars. That's true. You bite into those, they just go everywhere. Just crumbs. That's all it is. It's crumbs held together on a wing and a prayer. Let's see. Corn on the cob. Yep. And corn on the cob's a good one because not only are you in danger of being messy with it, the people sitting directly across from you are too. I've been shot with corn juice. Anyway, moving on. Barbecue ribs, absolutely. But I think ribs are one of the things. You go to a barbecue place or a rib joint, people expect you to be just, elbow deep in some barbecue sauce. And kind of along the same lines here, I've got wings. Wings are, and I think wings may be worse than barbecue or, than ribs because, look, you get in there and you're working between those bones and trying to get, it's not really flattering. Fellas or ladies, all you single folks out there, first date with somebody, blind date, or just anybody that's first date, stay away from a wing joint or a rib joint unless you want to see them at their worst. And if you can watch them eat wings and still find them attractive, you better keep them because it's love for sure. And if they can say the same about you, keep them coming if you have them. What food is impossible to eat in a civilized manner? Now, while you ponder on that, let's look at this day in country music. Born on this day in Atlanta, Georgia in 1944 was Brenda Lee. At 4'9" tall, she received the nickname Little Miss Dynamite in 1957. In 1977, Willie Nelson recorded tracks for his forthcoming album, Stardust. Executives of Columbia Records were not convinced that the album would sell well because the project was a radical departure from his earlier success in the outlaw movement. When released, Stardust was on Billboard's country album charts for 10 years. I think it went well. 2006, Oprah Winfrey held an iTunes concert featuring Carrie Underwood, Josh Groban, Michael Bublé, and Tony Bennett. Carrie Underwood performed Jesus Take the Wheel. And on this day in 1995, Garth Brooks released The Beaches of Cheyenne as the third single from his album Fresh Horses. The single became Brooks' 15th Billboard #1 hit, holding the position for a week. Also on that album was this little number. And with it being cold, you probably want to be standing around a fire right now. Well, that's going to do it for hour #1, but don't you fret, we still have 2 full hours to go. Coming up in hour #2, political chaos, including is the U.S. trying to make the world gay? Stay tuned, I'll tell you all about it. Be back in 3 minutes. Welcome back, Buzzers. Your buddy Trav on the radio. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Morning Buzz, hour #2. Coming up in this hour, we've got political chaos from around the world, including Trump. Goes back to court today. Will he testify? I'll tell you what he said. Also, we've got news about an ambassador, and, Joe being Joe. And is the United States trying to make the world gay? That coming up in just a couple of minutes. But first, as we do every day in Hour 2, we begin this hour with some Jesus music because you know we need Jesus before we talk politics. Today's 389 Country Christmas song, I know we play all kinds of them, but in the spotlight here, in the gospel spotlight, comes to us from For King and Country and Gabby Barrett, Go Tell It on the Mountain, rewrapped. Thanks for listening. It's been a while. Time for an Empire update. Y'all, you know, it's stories like this that make you understand why some countries refer to us as the Great Satan. The Biden administration is angry that Africa doesn't want to be gay. What? Yep. Last Monday, the U.S. targeted officials in Zimbabwe and Uganda with visa restrictions meant to punish them for wrongthink. The reason? Democracy in those nations is under attack because the democratically elected leaders represented the overwhelming majority of Africans who don't support homosexual lifestyle and practices. In March, Uganda literally made identifying as LGBT illegal. So, regarding the new sanctions imposed last week, State Secretary Antony Blinken said, "Today, I'm announcing the expansion of the visa restriction policy to include current or former Ugandan officials or others who are believed to be responsible for or complicit in undermining the democratic process in Uganda or for policies or actions aimed at repressing members of marginalized or vulnerable populations." Now, keep in mind, this is important. Pay attention here. Even if you don't like me and you don't listen to anything else I say this morning, pay attention to this. So the Biden administration doesn't like that they've put into place anti-homosexual policies. So what do they use? They call it an attack on democracy. He said who are responsible for or complicit in undermining the democratic process. The democratic process that they use to vote to pass this and that their citizens overwhelmingly agree to. But because it's not the way this administration wants things to be, they call it an attack on democracy. Bury that deep in your brain. Anytime you hear attack on democracy, know that it means you're not believing and you're not going along with what we're telling you to. So because other countries, you know, we talk about Martha, he's about to go on one of his anti-U.S. rants. No, it's not that at all. But we talk about, like, Putin invading Ukraine, right? He's forcing himself into Ukraine. And, well, this administration's trying to enforce this belief in this, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, agenda. There we go. They're trying to force it on every other country in the world. It's still an invasion of this country's government, what we're doing. We're just not doing it with the military. We're invading countries all over the world with this ideology and trying to force them to accept it, when many in our own country don't accept it, but we've been forced to, right? And so we're trying to force the rest of the world too. But, you know, the majority spoken in Uganda, and they don't want it in their nation. It's their nation. We are not the rulers of the world. I know. Washington thinks that. And we call the president the most powerful man in the world. Let me tell you something. I'm even going to go this far. It's none of our business what kind of government another country has. If another country allows their country to turn into a dictatorship or communist leadership, that's none of our business. Who are we to tell them? Like, we don't want China telling us you should be a communist country, right? You mind your business, China. You see the hypocrisy in all this, but Again, if you get nothing else out of the show today, this week, this month, this year, or ever, when they say something is an attack on democracy, just know that means it's something that goes against what they want you to believe, and they being the empire. Joe Biden update, in case you didn't know. So, when was this? He was giving a speech, let's see, Friday maybe? Thursday? Anyway, he's talking about trains because you know he loves trains. And here's what he said, that we're investing over $300 million. Let me repeat that, just in case. Look, Joe's smarter than you. He's on record for saying that No matter where he is, he's the smartest guy in the room. So let me go over that again. Over $1 billion, $300 million, trillion, $300 million. So it's hard to know the exact amount that he was talking about when he was discussing these federal investments. And it was about a high-speed rail connecting Los Angeles to Las Vegas. There's your tax money. Well, at least it doesn't go to Ukraine. Does he mean $1 billion, $300 million, trillion, $300 million? Or did he mean $1 billion, $300 million, trillion, and $300 million? I don't know what he meant. I don't think he does either. So here's the context. Here's what he was saying. All the studies show, by the way, people get from point A to point B faster on a train than their car. They take the train. What? And listen, he's correct. You do get from point A to B quicker on the train. You know why? You don't have to stop. There's no other traffic. However, all the studies show, by the way, no joke, people get from point A to point B faster on a train than their car. They take the train. Oh, look, your guess is as good as mine. I saw a video of him from the weekend. Like, people were saying, hello, Mr. President, and the woman in the background was like, he can't see us. And he was stumbling around. Guess what he was doing as he was stumbling around on the sidewalk? Eating ice cream. Joe, you had a pretty good week. We're going to give you ice cream. Oh, boy. So then he switched from math and trains to gun control. He said, the Second Amendment didn't say you could own any gun. You can own any weapon. You couldn't own a cannon when the Second Amendment was passed. Now, he's received 4 Pinocchios for that lie that he repeats all the time. You could own a cannon, Joe. You could. Joe being Joe. I mean, 347 billion, trillion, million, quadrillion, and 38 cents. They ride the train. This Christmas, Donny Hathaway. Oh, he's coming back a little more. There you go, buddy. Don't give up so soon. Don't you give up so soon. I'll be back in 3 minutes. We'll take a look at more political chaos, including Donnie T in the news and in court. Well, how about we take a look at Donnie T? Donnie T was supposed to testify in court today. However, this from the New York Post. Donald Trump, in an about-face on Sunday, announced he won't be testifying in his own defense at the New York civil fraud trial that threatens his real estate empire. As you can imagine, he had something to say about it on Truth Social. He says, I have already testified to everything and have nothing more to say other than this is a complete and total election interference, Biden campaign, witch hunt that will do nothing but keep business out of New York. The former president, who was expected to be called to the stand by his attorneys on Monday, said in all caps, I will not be testifying on Monday. Trump was set to testify again as one of the final witnesses in his defense case against New York Attorney General Letitia James. Claims that he exaggerated his worth by billions a year for better loan and insurance terms. But here's the thing. You can't just go around saying that I'm worth this. They have to look into, you have to provide proof of how much you're worth. So I don't understand why this is even a trial. And keep in mind, it's not these companies he's dealt with that's suing him. It's the government that's suing him. During heated testimony last month, after he was called to the stand by lawyers with the AG's office, Trump and his team clashed multiple times with Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Arthur Engeron, who is deciding the non-jury case. You know, the guy that looks like Bernie Sanders. So Trump says, I've already said all I've got to say. I'm not getting back on the stand. Y'all, this is just ridiculous. It's a kangaroo court. And I'm not saying it, I'm not Trump. I'm just saying, if you look at this thing logically and calmly and non-emotionally, anybody can see this is a kangaroo court. They're just out to get him. Again, it's not the businesses and banks and insurance companies that he's dealt with that's taking him to court. It's the government. It's New York, y'all. The state of New York says, we don't like the way you've done business, So we're going to try to basically just squash your business. And again, the companies, he has to provide. I cannot go into the bank today and tell them, hey, I need a $2 million loan. But what are you worth? Oh, I'm worth $6 million. But I want to use your loan as an investment. I don't want to use my personal money. And they say, oh, okay, since you're worth $6 million, we're going to do it. No, we need proof of that. So if these companies did business with Trump without requiring that, that's on them. But again, the government doesn't like the way Trump done business. So we're going to put an end to Trump here in New York City. Yeah. Kangaroo Court. And listen, this is just setting up. Next year is going to be wild. The election is already crazier than anything we've ever seen, and we're just getting warmed up. This is just the appetizer. Just wait. The closer we get to it, the crazier things are going to get. So buckle up. Buddy Jewel, Sweet Southern Comfort. Let's keep the music rolling. This one, apparently Merle Haggard wrote this song about Dolly Parton. I guess the hag had a little fling or a little thing for Dolly, but Dolly was happily married. She's been happily married to the same man all these years. Merle, well, his married life wasn't as successful, but he always had a crush on Dolly, apparently. And this one, rumor is that Merle wrote this one about her and for her. It's called Always Wanting You. Oh, Merle Haggard singing to Dolly. Does it get any better than that? Well, back to the chaos. Victor Manuel Rocha has held a lot of offices in the United States government, including being a U.S. Department of State employee, serving on the U.S. Security Council, serving as the ambassador to Bolivia, and advising the commander of the U.S. Southern Command, a joint command of the United States military, to name a few. His career spanned 40 years, and the whole time, the man was allegedly a Cuban spy. Now, I say allegedly, but the evidence sounds pretty convincing here. And it wasn't the dancing and cigars that gave him away. From the story, throughout the meetings, Rocha behaved as a Cuban agent, consistently referring to the United States as the enemy and using the term we to describe himself and Cuba. Rocha additionally praised Fidel Castro as commandant and referred to his contracts in Cuban intelligence as his compadres or compañeros, and the Cuban intelligence services as the dirección. Rocha described his work as a Cuban agent as a grand slam. Yep. Now he's being charged with conspiring to act as an agent of a foreign government without prior notification to the Attorney General. Well, look, if you just notify the Attorney General, then you can be a spy. But you can't be one without notifying the Attorney General that you're going to be a spy for another country. Also acting as an agent of a foreign government without prior notification to that's the same thing. And no, the first one was conspiring. The second one was actually acting on it. And also with using a passport obtained by false statement. Attorney General Merrick Garland said this action exposes one of the highest-reaching and longest-lasting infiltrations of the United States government by a foreign agent. Foreign countries, you other countries, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Let me just go ahead and put this out there, even for you spies that may be listening. You don't need to have a spy in our country to bring it down. We're doing a great job on our own. Just save the resources, and everybody just kick back and watch. And I promise you, we are the United States. We can do it better than you anyway. We can just demolish our country better and faster than you ever could. Just get out of our way. Let us do our thing. Back to Donnie T we go. One of the rappers who received a Trump communication. Let's try this again. One of the rappers who received a commuted sentence from Donald Trump, there we go, in 2021 before leaving office, and who has endorsed Donald Trump for president this time around, was arrested in Florida last week for cocaine possession. Now, Trump commuted the guy's sentence, calling him a community leader. Look, he better hope that Trump wins again in 2024 because it looks like he's about to be put away for a long, long time. From the story, rapper Kodak Black was arrested on charges of cocaine possession in Plantation, Florida on Thursday, according to court documents. The musician, whose real name is Bill Capri, Kodak Black, what's your real name? Bill Capri. He was also charged with tampering with evidence as well as probation violation and improper stop or park. So, why did Trump spend his last days in office getting Kodak Black and Lil Wayne out of jail sentences? Well, since Trump commuted his sentence on a charge of lying on a gun form, Black has been sent to rehab, arrested, and detained by police multiple times, including for numerous drug-related cases. But I guess this is kind of guy that, Trump's criminal justice reform is aimed at helping unrepentant drug addicts. Again, for this guy's sake, Trump better win 2024. I don't know that Trump would do this again. Who knows? And look, Trump was trying to make a statement, and it was a PR move, and it backfired. Now, if you ask him about it, who knows what he would say. Speaking of Trump, here's Andy Ross with the classic "Make Christmas Great Again." Gary Allen, best I ever had. That's how we end hour 2, but don't you fret. We still have a full hour to go, full of chaotic news from around the world, including the crazy news story of the day and the BK Concrete Connection Racing Report. I'll be back in 3 minutes. Thanks for listening. Welcome back, Buzzers. Your buddy Trav on the radio. Welcome to hour 3 of a Monday show. Now, you didn't know I could rap, did you? Neither did I. It was an accident. Hey, I told you a couple hours ago that I was going to mention the old stray dog that popped up. Wow, that popped up really loud. Unless you're listening to the podcast version, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, Friday morning, a stray dog showed up at the house. Very, very malnourished, and he had all kinds of issues. So he hung out at my house Friday, fed him and doctored him and showed him some attention. Younger dog, really good dog. He knew how to sit, and he would follow you around. So he stayed at our place Friday and Friday night, and all day Saturday. And then Saturday night when we got home from the wife's company Christmas party, I went down. I'd fixed him a little place up down at the lower end of the property in the greenhouse, so he felt safe. But anyway, went to check on him. He was there, tail wagging. He slept all day Friday and Saturday, but he was sitting at the little door that I had for him, and I spoke to him and made sure he had water and petted him and everything. Well, yesterday morning, got up, went down to feed him. He was gone. Just gone. Well, then I saw him. He was still around the neighborhood, but I fed him, and then he disappeared again, and he went over to the neighbor's home. And the neighbor's son had a friend over, and neighbor's son friend said, "I think I'll take that dog." So the last I heard, the old stray dog was headed to a new home, so you can rest easy. Oh, welcome to hour 3. We got chaotic news to get to, including the crazy news story of the day. But we begin this hour, since we are now in the 9 o'clock hour, with 90s at 9:05. We celebrate with King George himself. George Strait, Blue Clear Sky. That's what I'm seeing outside the studio. To crazy we go. Well, chaotic, not crazy. So, the insanely lucky winner of 2 $10 million lottery tickets is apparently not a Marxist. He's not spread a cent of his wealth with the staff at a Brooklyn gas station where he purchased both of those tickets. Imagine winning $10 million in the lottery twice. Multiple lottery winner Wayne Murray hasn't yet tipped staff at H&A Gas and Convenience on Avenue H in Flatbush after winning either time, said the manager, who admitted he's still dreaming of a tiny slice of the pie, especially since he gets no bonus from the state for selling the winning scratch-offs. It's only the big drawings, Mega Millions and Powerball. The customer that won is a very nice guy, he said. He might come back, so I'm hopeful. Besides, business is picking up since Murray won a second $10 million prize Tuesday while playing the New York Lottery's 200 times scratch-off game. In August of 2022, he won $10 million playing the Black Titanium game. Okay. Store owner said the store gets famous. I've seen new faces. Some people keep coming asking about the lucky store. They say they will get their gas from here, so it's good for business too, he continued. Well, there's your tip. For both wins, Murray took the lump sum payout of $6 million each after taxes, according to lottery officials. The games cost $30 to play. Woo! Good gravy. He may still be in the hole, depending on how long he's played. New York pays a $10,000 bonus to retailers who sell winning jackpots on Mega Millions or Powerball tickets, but no retailers who sell winning scratch-offs get compensation. So if you win $10 million in the lottery, are you going to go and tip the attendant? The last big Mega Millions or Powerball, whichever one that was up in the outrageous close to $1 billion or maybe over $1 billion, I told the ladies when I went in and, thought for sure I was going to win, I said, when I win, I'm going to come back and give you a donation. I didn't tell them how much, but I think I would. Would you tip the person who sold you winning lottery ticket for $10 million? Let me know, 389country@gmail.com. Welcome back, buzzers. Back in to the chaos. Here we go again, people. Hide your kids and your dogs. Deadly monkeypox strain kills an alarming 1 in 10 people, CDC warns. Yep, monkeypox is back. Or mpox, for you anti-racists. This time, however, a new variant is killing 10% of the people it infects. That's a huge number, y'all. 10% fatality rate. From the story, this from the New York Post. A deadly, fast-spreading strain of the monkeypox virus has the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on high alert. The variant of the virus, which causes a severe disease known as monkeypox, they say mpox, I'm saying monkeypox, kills up to 10% of the people who are infected. This virus variant is known to be more virulent. I guess that's virulent. If it adapts better to human transmission, that presents a risk. That's from Rosamund Lewis of the WHO's monkeypox surveillance team. But now the rapid spread of the deadlier Clade 1 subtype of the virus has been reported by health officials in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the disease has spread to 22 of the 26 provinces. Now, to date, there have been no known cases of the Clade 1 variant in the United States, though doctors have been instructed by the CDC to be on the lookout for symptoms. I'm not going to tell you what these symptoms are. This is a family show, but I'm pretty sure you would know something's up. I'll just say that. Anyway, if this new variant does make its way across the Atlantic, we can expect a breakout similar to last year's, where 31,000 Americans were infected and 53 died, but it'll be a much higher mortality rate. Now, I'm not going to go into how you get it. You probably know, but if you don't know, I'll say this. A mask is not going to help anything. Now, however, social distancing, that would really, really help. Let's jump back into the music and back into the Christmas music to get you back in the mood for the season with one of my all-time favorites, White Trash Christmas. Time now for the crazy news story of the day. And we head to Massachusetts, where Patrick Kenny Jr. was leaving Saugus's Kowloon restaurant when, according to authorities, Kenny fell and stabbed himself with his necklace. Now, you may think to yourself, self? That doesn't seem like it could hurt you that bad. I'm not real sure how you could even stab yourself. Maybe he means cut himself. Nope, stabbed himself, because on his necklace, hanging there, where you may have a cross on yours, maybe a birthstone for your kids, maybe a picture of Granny, he had a knife. I'll repeat that just so we're clear here. He had a necklace knife. That's a necklace with a knife hanging on it, just in case you're wondering. Now, common sense and, any kind of just a hint of self-preservation makes it hard for me to believe such a thing even exists. Like, why does it even exist? A necklace knife. But I checked. Amazon has dozens of them if you want to chance it. Whoever invented these should get a visit from Will Smith. Keep your knife off my neck. And the reason they're a bad idea should now be obvious. You could stab yourself to death like Mr. Kenny here. And even worse, Kenny passed away from his injuries, leaving behind a wife and 2 young children. His family issued the following statement. Our family is mourning the loss of Patrick, focused on his wife, Lauren, and 2 young children and trying to make sense of this horrific tragedy. Patrick was a loving father and husband, brother, son, and loyal friend to many. This is a horrible tragedy. It is like this, sometimes crazy news stories funny, sometimes it's gross, sometimes it's tragic. This is tragic. Now, this tragedy could have easily been avoided by simply not wearing a knife on a necklace. It's sad. I'm not minimizing it, but at some point, people have to be held accountable for their own actions. There's a picture here. It's just a knife, dagger-looking thing dangling from the necklace. So, you've got to think. I get accused sometimes of focusing on negative things and what could happen, bad things that could happen. But somebody should look at that and think, now, if I fail, that could go bad. Or even if just the necklace got hung, if it got hung around my jacket or something, I could stab myself in the throat. So there you go. That's today's crazy news story of the day. And now, the king. So, any of you, you have garden, not like a vegetable garden, but like, flower garden, landscaping, and maybe you have different little trinkets. Some people do the garden gnomes and, bird baths and things like that. So this guy was doing his gardening in the presence of a live missile for over 40 years. And the family who lived there before him said the missile had already been in the garden for decades. A late 1800s naval projectile just chilling there next to the beets, or the daisies or whatever, just waiting to explode. Y'all, could you imagine? I'm not sure why the bomb squad was called, but eventually they were called, and this is from the story. A bomb squad was called to a home in Wales when a decoration that had adorned the garden for over a century was identified as a 19th century military bomb. Yep, it'd been there for over 100 years. A live missile sitting there next to the house. Just sitting, I guess, why the heck not? Jeffrey Edwards, 77, who has lived at the house in Milford Haven, Pembrokeshire for 41 years, said the previous owners of the house, the Morris family, told him the object had been in the yard for decades. The object was long thought to be an inert military missile from the 19th century, but a police officer told Edwards and his wife last week that the Ministry of Defense needed to inspect the bomb. So somebody saw it and got the word to the cops, or the cops saw it. Well, Pop Morris, who went around delivering lemonade, was going down to Broadhaven with his horse and cart and found the shell. This is how it all got back to the house. He struggled back up the beach with it, put it in the back of his cart, and had a very bouncy 7-mile ride home. He plonked it upright in front of the courtyard, and that's where it remained. He hauled a live missile in the back of a horse and buggy bouncing around. I love this stuff for some reason. Sign of the times, right? Much simpler times back then. The bomb, which weighed a full 64 pounds, dates between 1880 and 1890 and was meant to be fired from a warship. It was detonated by specialists at a nearby quarry. Y'all, I guess it washed up on the beach, and Paw said, that looks pretty good. I'm going to throw that in the old horse and cart and take it home and put it in the garden. What if a kid, I don't know what it took to detonate it, apparently more than bouncing it around, but could you imagine? If you've got garden gnomes out in the yard right now, you need to call the law. We got to blow them things up. They may be deadly to everyone. Jason Aldean there with the truth. Well, I got one more chaotic story for you. On Thursday afternoon, 2 tourists from Utah called police to report a black woman who was pouring gasoline on the porch of the Atlanta home where Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15th, 1929. The suspect, 26-year-old Lanisha Henderson, was arrested by Atlanta police and is being held in the Grady Detention Center for psychological evaluation. Newsweek attempted to come up with a motive for the bizarre incident, noting that Henderson is from Brandon, Florida, and does not appear to have any political affiliations. WSB-TV says they reached Henderson's father, who told them his daughter is a veteran who was going through a mental health episode and that her family had been looking for her for the past 2 days. So how'd she end up in Atlanta? 2 Utah tourists, both men, were visiting the historic landmark when they saw Henderson pouring what they thought was water on the bushes. When she didn't respond, they realized it was gasoline, and they restrained her. From the story, They saw no other option but to try to apprehend her along with the help of other bystanders in the area. They tried to get her detained. While trying to stop her, Henderson allegedly was trying to spark a lighter to ignite the gas on the property and bushes. Bystanders took the lighter away from her and waited for authorities to arrive. When Henderson was detained, she was wearing black socks and no shoes. Now, obviously, her dad was having a mental episode, so I don't know why she thought going to Atlanta and burning down Martin Luther King Jr.'s birth home would solve anything. But when you're having a mental episode like this, I mean, logic is thrown out the window. But good for the bystanders for doing something instead of just cranking up the old phone and recording it to put on TikTok, right? Well, that's going to do it for the old Travinator on a Monday morning. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Morning Buzz. Don't forget to keep a check on 389country.com throughout the day for the news that you can use. Always new, always free. Ton of stories already came in this morning. Some of them are already there. Some of them will be there throughout the day, so that's why you need to keep a check. Also, keep us on as we are the perfect soundtrack to your day. Josh David coming up here in just a couple of minutes. He's hid his playlist from me again. Darn you, Josh! Anyway, I'll be back with you bright and early tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. We will do it all again. It'll be 2 for Tuesday, so you'll get double shots from your favorite country music artist, of course, with all the normal chaos. Until then, remember, wrestling is real, politicians are fake. Hope you guys have a great Monday. I'll talk to you first thing tomorrow morning.